In this episode of Spotlight on Bowling Green, we'll be looking at the Shake Rag District and the future redevelopment of the area. The Shake Rag Historic District is located along State Street, just north of downtown Bowling Green from 5th Avenue to the bypass. As you travel along State Street, you'll be traveling along what was once called the Dixie Highway. It had a combination of elaborate homes and an abundance of early 20th century bungalows in the neighborhood. The Shake Rag community was a growing professional and middle-class community demonstrated by its diverse architecture. Shake Rag was a close-knit community and provided a haven from the pressures of living in and traveling through segregated areas of Bowling Green. It became a city within a city, with a growing network of doctors, churches, schools, and businesses. Through the years, gas stations, hotels, restaurants, and other businesses catering to travelers emerged in the neighborhood. The Shake Rag District was added to the National Register of Historic Places in the summer of 2000. It is Bowling Green's first National Register district, recognized for its significance to African American history.
The Shake Rag community was founded in the late 1800s. It was founded on hard work, family, education, and religion. All of these were very important factors in this neighborhood. By 1802, the founding fathers of the community gave a parcel of land known as Lee Square to the Shake Rag community for recreational purposes for the children in the neighborhood. By 1884, schools began to establish in the neighborhood. The Bowling Green Academy established in 1884. Then the State Street School, high school, and elementary school was established in 1885. By this time, the community was well developed or well established. Businesses began to develop. The Southern Queen Hotel, it was the only black hotel in Bowling Green, and the building today still stands. It is privately owned. A lot of the medical professionals lived in this community. Dr. O.D. Porter's house is still standing. It's on the corner of 5th and State Street. Dr. Z.K. Jones was a doctor in the community, and his house is also on the opposite corner of State and 5th Street. So the community was very, very vibrant, very, very alive. The Carver Center was established in 1946, and it was established by a group of teachers that were a group of ladies in the neighborhood that thought it was important to have somewhere for the children in the neighborhood to go. It was a recreational facility for the black students in the neighborhood or for the black youth in the neighborhood.
The State Street Baptist Church purchased the corner of 4th and State in 1872. This is a picture of the original building that was established in 1873 after it was damaged by fire. The original name was the First Colored Baptist Church. This name was changed to State Street Baptist Church in 1885. Although the original building was damaged by fire, some of the original windows have been preserved and are still being used in the current structure today. It was church organizations like this that educated young black students in the area before schools like State Street were built. Both State Street School and State Street Gym were built a couple of blocks north of State Street Baptist Church. The only part of State Street School remaining today is the State Street Gym. It was used for lots of school and community activities, but its main attraction was basketball games.
I was a student at State Street High School, and while there at State Street, I remember the school song that stated, "Dear old State Street High School, you are the world to me." And that song and the words that constituted that song were implanted in my heart. It gave me an opportunity to attain a good education at State Street. And when I returned to State Street, later on, which became High Street High School, I came back as a teacher. And I was able to instill those same traits that they taught me to the students. to be loyal, to be dedicated, and to be truthful to each other, because the school song was still very important. Now it became Dear Old High Street High School, you're the world to me. And State Street and High Street, which were the same, the school was the center of the community. When it was an old school, it was looked to by the parents and the blacks in the community as the center of culture, the center of education. And when we moved to our new school, which became High Street, it was still a center, but it was a center that produced a light that was very significant to the community. By being in that school, then we were able to instill in our students, in their hearts, to remember what the school is doing for you. And as a result of that, we have produced some outstanding students. We produced outstanding athletes. And it's a very important part to have a school in any community, whether it's a white school or whether it's a black school, because you have something to turn to. We can still remember, and we're able to instill in our young folks that there was a black school in this community, and the community is going to be revitalized, and it makes a difference, but we still can remember Dear Old State Street and Dear Old High Street School. They're still the world to me.
"75-year-old James Carpenter grew up in the Shake Rag District and attended the State Street School. He has been a long-established businessman in the district for over 50 years. He has a successful barbershop business today, still located in Shake Rag. He is joined in his barbershop by his lifelong friend, Selvin Butts, to share with us old-time stories about the Shake Rag District.
The women in the Shake Rag used to wash clothes. A lot of the ladies was housewives, and they took in laundry and washed clothes, and they would have big kettles, and they would boil the clothes and hang them on the line. And the clothes would hang on the lines all through the community. You could see the clothes just blowing in the wind. And I heard that that was a way that Shake Rag got its community, by all of this laundry blowing. I also remember telling me that people in Shake Rag community used to, for amusement, they would go to the restaurants and they would dance. They'd have jukeboxes there. They would dance, and people was really particular about wearing their clothes. They'd wear the best clothes that they have, and the clothes would be flopping and flashing, and some of the people would get back while they was dancing and say, "Shake those rags, shake those rags." And I heard that that was one of the ways that the Shake Rag community got its name.
Usually when we talk about restaurant and night spots, we always talk about Mustang Inn and Quonset Hut. There was also a restaurant called the Don Cafe. That's where most of the teenagers and the school kids went.
When school let out for lunchtime, we had an hour, and they would come down to the Don Cafe, and they would start putting their nickels in the jukebox. The proprietor of the restaurant would have to run them out, to run them back to school after.
There was also, we speak of Southern Queen, and that's where most of the school kids went at lunchtime to eat. They had some, Ms. Covington, she used to make meatloaf sandwiches. And it was some of the best meatloaf, I think, that you could ever find. I've never tasted any like it.
And it was a grocery store right here on the corner of 2nd and Chestnut, and it was Mr. Stevens' store. And at lunchtime, Mr. Stevens would have piles of sacks stacked up where he would have 5 cents and 10 cent sacks of bologna and crackers. and the kids would come in and buy it just as fast as they could get it.
In 1966, Reverend Carbon and I, we started a barbecue restaurant there called C&B Barbecue Shack. And then where the Don Cafe was, we opened it up for teenagers. And then a few years later, we turned it into a private club called the Esquire Club. And the same crowds that they had back when he was talking about the school kids, we had that, not the same crowd, but we had larger crowds then because we had dances and DJs. And that was about 1966 that we started that, and we operated for about 9 years.
And growing up in the Shake Rag community, when we were small, we didn't have a whole lot of things to play with, and as Selwyn said, we played ball, we played baseball, softball, and we would form our teams, and we'd have basketball teams. We played all through the community. We put basketball goals up in the backyard, and anywhere we could put a hoop at, we played ball. We also played baseball all through the community, and we'd have the best of times there together during that time.
In June of 2002, the New Era Planning Association, also known as NEPA, applied to the Bowling Green Enterprise community for a grant in the Neighborhood Cleanup Benchmark. NEPA wanted to be a vital part of the revitalization effort for Shake Rag. Their first phase of their grant was to compose a model or master plan for the Shake Rag area. Once this was completed, they also used funds to help establish their office at the George Washington Carver Center. They spent money on furniture, fixtures, equipment, and also for 6 months' worth of rent. They also had funds left to produce a promotional brochure for the New Era Planning Association.
The Housing and Community Development Department is involved in the revitalization of the Shake Rag neighborhood in a couple of ways. The first is in home ownership. We want to reestablish the home ownership rate that was in the area previously. We're doing that through construction of new homes in the area and rehabbing existing homes in the area. A second way we're involved in the neighborhood is in developing some elderly housing units called Renaissance Village. And that will be an opportunity for folks who are old enough that don't want to take care of their large home anymore or want to move into something a little less stressful for them. Will have an opportunity to move into apartments while staying in the neighborhood that they've always loved. And then a second component of that will be affordable assisted living, wherein they'll, as they need more assistance, they'll be able to stay in their neighborhood.
The Shake Rag community was a vital part of Bowling Green's history. With dedicated citizens and the city's redevelopment efforts, it will once again be a spotlight community.